Ganesha Jeff, and I am a mindfulness and meditation practitioner, author, as well as an inspirational speaker. And this is In Conversation with the Masters. And in this series, I will be talking to open hearted, open minded, as well as conscious living people from across the globe who will be answering some of life's most profound questions. And today I am sitting with Heike Sym, who is a psychic, a medium, a Reiki master, a tarot reader, a numerologist, and a metaphysical profiler. Now, Heike was born in Germany, but she now lives in South Africa. Heike, oh, I forgot to add, Heike is also my friend in the list of everything that she does. So Heike, thank you so much for making time to have a chat with us today. Thank you.
Only ever a pleasure connecting with you.
It's always fun just sitting down and really talking to you about life and love and everything else. So today, I want to ask you some questions, and I'm hoping we're going to have a lot of fun and just enjoy this session. So the first question, Heike, is why can't psychics win the lotto?
Well, firstly, it's not a proven fact that we can't. Maybe we just simply don't advertise it. And I actually get asked that a lot. But that is also because, gambling's got nothing to do with energy. And for everybody that wins, millions need to lose. And that's not for me. It's kind of like saying, asking a psychic, when is so-and-so going to die? That's not for me to know. It's pretty much the concept is alike. So plus, where's the fun in things if you know the answer to everything? Plus, I really also just like to take the mickey out of people when they tell me. So like me being a psychic and getting the numbers, why would I share them?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Then you will be winning the lotto every week quietly.
Yeah, I actually said the other day when somebody was asking me, it's like, well, of course we do. And I stash it all away in the Cayman Islands on my offshore account. And I really just do readings because I actually get bored at times. So it's like, so I really just also have fun when people ask me that.
I think people also forget that psychics are also people who are living in the same system as everybody else. And you have your own karma to sort of live out as well. And I also think that, we don't have all the answers to life, and you're also moving along life with your own ups and downs, and you can't control everything in life. So you can't answer everybody's question, right?
There's that, and there's also a lot of confusion with the terminology as well. Of course, for lots of people, the psychic and the fortune teller is the exact same thing. So it's the palm reader, and it's like everything is like anything and anyone who works in the spiritual field or with energies must be able to tell you all those things. And the more I tell people right before they have any kind of sessions with me, it's not for me to make decisions for you. It is about bringing clarity. It's why would you want to give away your free will? But people, especially right now when everything is upside down, they want something to hold on to, and they find it easier to hold on to something outside of them than inside of them. So they rather go with somebody who says in 2 years this will happen no matter what you do, before they say like, but I have a lot of say because this is free will, because nothing is ever cast in stone. This is an incredible power which I try to get people to step into, because it's there. So the terminology is not helping. And there is lots of people out there in every field as well. And there's lots of ruthless psychic mediums out there who do exactly that, which doesn't make our job easier. So, but at the end of the day, yes, psychic mediums, spiritual worker, light workers, whatever, they're all just human beings, and they have their own, their messenger, they're the postman. And they still have their own journeys on top of it all. So very often, I think, especially in times now where panic is there and fear is there, it's kind of like, just give me something, you've got to, you're psychic, you're medium, give it to me now. So panic is so much higher. So it's understandable. It's not quite how it works there.
And I think also people expect you to only give them good fortune, but there's also misfortune in there as well. People's life is made up of good and bad parts, and you can't always give them something that they actually want to hear. I know people are looking for that hope, but also you can't give them that sense of false hope as well. So there's a lot of responsibility.
There's great responsibility that comes with any kind of energy and light work you do. It doesn't matter in which form, because this is like your main currency. This is like your basic material that you make or they're made of is energy. And if it comes via the mind, the body, or the soul, it doesn't matter. So you have incredible responsibility with that. And everything exists in duality. So good news, bad news. Besides that, this is in the eyes of the beholder. I mean, look at a divorce. For one half, it might be the worst news. For the other half, it's kind of like, yay, I'm finally out. So who decides what is good and what is bad? That's an attachment. Everything is neutral until we attach something to it, and just as where our power lays. So when people come and say, tell me only good stuff in whose eyes? And who says that what you now consider bad is not the best thing ever for you? How many people do you know, let's say 5 years after the divorce, which thought it was the worst thing ever, they now go, oh my word, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Still the same thing happened, but the attachment has changed. So sometimes what we don't want is exactly what we need. Sometimes, and it goes the other way around as well. So we must realize that in our 3D world, we're very restricted at what we know, and with that attach what we want.
Absolutely.
So this whole good-bad system doesn't exist. Duality exists.
Yeah.
And we can't always learn in a fluffy way. It's like right now when people say, but it's all horrible. No, it isn't. It's all different. And if you find different horrible, then that's an attachment. Why don't you look at it as flexible? Why don't you look at it as an adventure? Why don't you look at it as room for growth? Why do you look at it as punishment? Again, it's neutral.
Yeah.
And this is where this comes in. So good, bad news, or people like, tell me about this person, but not about that person. You can't tell the postman what to deliver.
Yeah.
I'm the postman.
Yeah.
I can't tell them, listen, Sarah just said she only wants to hear from Nigel, but she doesn't want to hear from Tom. So you better only tell me. It's not for me to do. I go there and said, is there a message you want me to give them? And that's what I give them. And it's not for me to say, okay, I start filtering on the way before I deliver. It's kind of like the postman going through your letters and saying what you should and shouldn't have. It doesn't work like that.
I actually will ask you a little bit about the crossing over in a moment, but I just want to end on this subject by saying that, so if I had to come to you and say, look, Heike, I want to invest in the stock market, should I or should I not? Obviously the answer would be to not consult a psychic for that kind of answers. Don't make major life decisions by going to a psychic, right?
Well, I agree on that. I mean, ultimately, we all know what's good for us, not, and actually, ultimately, no psychic medium should ever tell you complete news, because you should kind of like have it. I always say to people, I'm not here to tell you complete news. I'm here to get the stuff out of the way that stops you from seeing it clearly, because you know anyway, but you get clouded, you overthink different people's opinions, social stuff, whatever there is, and then we're like, shouldn't I, and then we question ourselves. But that voice was there. And what I hear all the time in readings is like, I thought it's not, I had that inkling, I felt that, I knew it. Right, you knew it all along, so it's nothing new. It just helped you finding out where you started attaching this, where you had this pattern, where you had this blueprint, where you got maybe misled and looked at it differently. Now choose if you want this or if you want that. Free will. So we know that because our instinct, our energy field is with us all the time anyway. Not just an onlooker and saying, because I don't have the emotional attachments, I can say, okay, this is where this went, this is where that went, and this is maybe where you want to look at, but you choose how you want the outcome, off you go, knock yourself out. So, and because we know it shouldn't be new what I tell you.
Yeah, that's true. So, Heike, I've been involved with magic in my life. Now, not magic as in casting spells, but magic as in pulling a rabbit out of a hat. And when I was involved in that, when I would meet people, they would say to me, show me a trick. I've also been involved with comedy. And when I was involved with comedy at that time in my life, people would actually come up to me and say, can you please tell me a joke? And recently I've been doing readings, and I'm sure you get this question as well. And in fact, I need to ask you, do you get this question as well? Where you have people come up to you and say, can you tell me something about me? Do you also get that?
I get that a lot, and at the weirdest, not weirdest, it's actually very normal places, but like I'm on the shopping aisle and someone's like, hi, Heike, how are you? You still doing reading? I'm like, there's the entrance question. I'm like, yes, I do. And I know you've seen this is not the place, but I was like, and I know people when I get people coming over and I'm out with my other half for dinner or whatever. They're like, I don't want to disturb it just quickly. So I get that a lot. But what they also don't understand is like, we're not switched on 24/7 in everybody else's energy system. We have our own as well. So when I'm out shopping or whatever I'm doing, it's just like you're not running on a 24/7 comedy show and you are hilarious. I know you for long enough. But this is also takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of practice. It's like you have to set your mind to it. Just like you set your mind to meditation or giving talks. It's like it takes a frequency that you need to plug into. And you're not only running on one frequency 24/7. So I'm not running around and go shopping with 20 dead people and 60 other people's guides and guardians and ask what they want to have for dinner. I go with my crew and I go with my hubby and I go like, so this is my life. So, and people don't understand because they don't understand how the energy thing works. They think I'm this non-stop Wi-Fi tower that constantly is plugged in anything and everything that is around me. So, and it's understandable if you don't know it, that is the assumption you would have. So I had to really up my boundary game. So I thought I was pretty good at it being German and a Virgo and a woman, but yeah, a lot.
So, Heike, how do psychics do what they do? If you had to explain to people how you do your readings, how would you explain it? What is there some kind of process that you use, or how does it happen?
Firstly, everybody does it differently. There's the very traditional way that some do it with holding somebody's object and they have it. Ultimately, it's just to connect it to that person's energy field. When you come to me for a reading, with that, you've already given permission that I can now somehow access your energy field in order to give you insight of what's going on, helping you out what's in your, or helping to show you, or verbalize to you what's aligned with you and maybe where you're like clashing with your own energies. So I'll come in as like as the translator, because you quite can't decipher your own setup, so to say. So with that, what happens, I use tarot cards as well, but they're really just connected. Sometimes I like change, I just turn one or two cards. Sometimes it's the whole deck. It depends how the energy flows. But ultimately, the psychic is nothing else but heightened senses. So there is no big hoo-ha. Actually, I always say to people that the less you use your brain, the better it works. Because we get the information via the senses. It's about clear hearing, clear feeling, clear knowing, and all of those are in the senses. The brain only comes in and like, oh, I've got that now. How do I tell him that he understands that? This is when the brain comes in. So the less we use the brain, the easier we can connect, and we all can, because everybody has mother's instinct and everybody believes in that. But if we give it a different name, then people say like, I can't do that. Yeah. But nobody questions mother's instinct as one of many.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing when it comes to meditation. You just change the word a little bit and call it mindfulness, and suddenly everybody wants to find out what is this mindfulness. But mindfulness is a small part of meditation, you know, so it all depends. People like
also psychological beings. Well, that's what it is, but it also depends on which environment we grew up in and what was attached to which wording. Like, tell to people you need to go for therapy and they're like, there's nothing wrong with me. Tell them to like, maybe you would benefit from some life coaching. No problem at all.
Yeah.
It's like, so the terminology does matter because we have attached things for it, if it's good, if it's bad, if it's socially acceptable, if it isn't. I mean, 15, 20 years ago, if you would go out there and say, I'm a psychic medium, you kind of like just as well get ready to be shot at.
Yeah.
So nowadays it's way more open for that. So like everything has pros and cons.
200 years ago, that did actually happen, where psychics.
No, that's when they like the fire and the water. We got drowned and we got burned. They didn't so much do the shooting. So that changes from like century to century. But they're like different weapons. But it is definitely the psychic medium thing is literally just connecting with my senses to yours, and then I'm kind of like see what comes through. And my dominant ones are seeing, feeling, and hearing. So it's just like stuff coming in my head and kind of like, it's not mine, it must be his. And I put it out and say, can you place it? I don't know 99% of people that come to me, nor do I know the lives, the history, and the other people in it. So it will make zero sense to me. So for me, it's just to deliver the messages.
People fear what they don't understand, and that is the issue. I want to bring another perspective into what you are sharing, in that there is a branch in psychology called parapsychology, and where they are now studying things such as telepathy, being able to read people's minds. And also, if we look at quantum physics, it says that we are in one quantum soup, and there is no Heike and there is no Hitesh. We are all actually connected. So, from a scientific perspective, this is how you are able to do the readings, because you are me and I am actually you. So all you are doing is connecting to, you can say on one level, your energy, but at the same time, you can use the word consciousness. So you are connecting to my consciousness. And then one other part that I can bring into this is that when I am looking at a birth chart, I know that certain planets in certain houses mean a certain thing. In the same way, if a person comes in to see you, by simply looking at them, not only at an energetic level, by simply looking the way the eye moves, the way they actually sit, the way their hand is placed, by the way they're breathing, all of that is telling of things about a person. There has been, I've read stories in India where people could tell you, depending on which foot you placed into the river first, of when you were actually going to die. It's simply being a heightened sense of observation and just being aware and being present. Is that right? Do you agree with that?
Combination, because especially when you are more aware of how it works and how interconnected it all is, there is so much more that you can automatically pick up without you even being aware that you pick up. And as you said, somebody walking up like 100 meter across, like I would look at it and like, oh, this one is having a hard time with that. And it's not because I just read that person, but it was simply just the body language. Or like you can see that chakra is out of sync right now. And the number one thing that everybody does who's thrown out, feels challenged or does feel a bit insecure, they're all somehow blocked their solar plexus. Guys normally do it with their car keys, women normally with their handbags, or then they get closer to the table. Everybody that feels a bit challenged, thrown out of it. And this is such a subconscious thing. There's a reason why the higher up somebody is in the hierarchy, the bigger the desks get, because they have more to defend, and we automatically react to that. So there is a lot, and we simply just being aware, and you don't have to be highly trained. We can pick up. This is why, as a parent, the parents do that very well because they don't feel threatened by their kids. So they are completely, fully go into observation. I know exactly by looking at this chart for a split second, he or she's in that mood, he's having a problem with that, he doesn't like this, he is reacting to that, or he is cold, she is warm, he is happy, he is sad. And this is always under 1 second, because they learn to tune into that person without hesitation, because there's no threat coming from that person.
We've learned to go to the gym so that we can train our bodies. We learned to now do meditation so that we can train our mind. But, we also need to go to the gym so that we can work out our spirit and our soul. And this is what you were saying. It's that you spend time to fine tune your energy and your spirit, which is why you can do the things that you can do. I mean, I can lift weights as well, but I can't right now unless I go to the gym. So what you're saying is everybody can do what you are actually doing. It's just that they...
Totally. I was blissfully unaware of what I can do till my early 30s. Blissfully unaware. not necessarily blissfully, but I had no idea. And I was this person who would love to go to psychic fairs and like, oh, I wish I could do this one. That didn't even occur to me that I could do that or even try doing that, because in my mind, they're special people and they're born in a special way.
Yeah.
And they have to, I don't know, like be born with a veil over their head or have 5 gypsy grannies or something like that. You know, like all those stories that you hear, at least 5 black cats. I only got 1. So, but that wasn't it. It's like with anything. If you want to be a good Formula 1 driver, you spend an incredible amount of time in a Formula 1 car, in any car for that matter. And this is the same with this. If you want to be a good boxer, you spend a lot of time in the ring. So this is exactly what you pay attention to, is what you grow with anything. And it's no different. As long as you have any senses, which most of us have, then you can train them if you choose to. It's a choice like any other.
So, this is a phone and everybody knows what this is, but I can send a message from this gadget thousands of miles across this planet, and the person will get it instantaneously. For me, that is crazy. That is the magic in there. That is being psychic there. Being able, just for you to do that, that is crazy. But we understand how this works, and soon enough, we are going to be in a space where we are able to understand how people are able to be psychic and how they can communicate, without using these devices.
It's always been there, but the thing is, because of social kind of stuff that's happening, and it was always a bit more in the background in some cultures, and others it has always been celebrated. So, but in the more Western European kind of mindset, it was always something that needed to be suppressed because it was dangerous for those that wanted to be in control. But now with all the old rules not applying anymore and being on its head right now, people look to something of more substance. They look something they can relate to, something they can step into, something they want to get their own power back. And that's where this is coming from. And I mean, it has always been there. This is the oldest knowledge there has been. It's the knowledge of the universe. And if it comes via psychic mediums, if it comes via sangomas, if it comes via every nation and everywhere had it in one way or the other. Look at the Egyptians. I mean, from then they're very well reported in history with all of that, from gemstones to herbs to rituals to there's everything is there. So it has always been there, but the world is more open now because they realize that the modern stuff has its place, but its limitations.
Do you ever switch off in your own life from knowing stuff about your own personal life? Because I'm just thinking, if you are sort of switched on and knowing about your life all the time, then maybe you may be taking away from living in the mystery and the wonder of now. So how do you live your life? Are you always switched on about your life? Are you always reading your cards to check about your life? Or how do you live your life?
I read my own cards. I'm useless at reading my own cards because it's also the nice thing. Cards always, or any kind of readings, always work best if you have zero emotional attachment to it. I also don't read my close family members' cards. If it's general stuff, yes, but not when it comes to very emotional stuff, because the moment you can't detach fully, you can't just be the postman. So, because free will can also influence a reading, like it can influence pendulums or anything else what's energy, because if I care about you and I want you to have to get that promotion, I'm most likely going to see it more likely in the car than not because of it. But so I'm not reading my own. So how do I stay in my awareness? This was something I had to learn, because when I got into that, it completely took over. I hardly slept. I was in everybody else's energy but my own. And it was literally, then I got physically sick as well and everything, because I needed to learn literally boundaries. I literally had to get to a point where I said like, okay, spirit world, this is like, it's kind of like working time. So like when I'm at work and I do readings for people, I do that. And when I work out, I literally disconnect from everybody else's energy and get into my energy. And this is really something I had and still have to be very strict about with myself, not with others. I can't blame others trying to plug into me. It's for me to do that. And especially now that there's so much chaos going on, people have the tendency to be drawn to somebody who they feel has the answers. Not that I have all the answers, but that's what I feel. So I need to be even more clear, because every light worker will have the tendency wanting to save the whole world, but it's not doable. So this is definitely something. Like, again, if you want to be a Formula One driver, as much as you want to be a lot in the car, you can't be in there 24/7. It doesn't make you a good Formula One driver either.
Yeah.
It's all about balance. Everything in life is about balance.
Are you able to share with me some questions that you wish people would not ask you? Because I also have some really strange questions being asked to me. And people ask me how they're supposed to run their business, or how they're supposed to handle a person in their life, or even at work. And I struggle with giving them that answer, because I don't know what you're supposed to do. You know?
Well, what I normally do is like, there's some questions that I even kind of like, are you serious? You know, so what I wish they wouldn't ask me is about the lotto number all the time. It's funny the first 10 times, but not the next 500 times. But they wouldn't know how often I've heard it on the other hand. So that's that. But it comes to that people are too happily outlaying the big decisions, like, should I divorce my husband? Well, it is your husband. Do you want him or don't you want him?
Exactly.
Yeah. Kind of. Should I invest 1 million? Well, do you want to put it in? Did you do your homework? Did you do the market research? I'm a psychic medium, and I used to be a teacher and a therapist. So if you trust me, where you should put 1 million and put it in my account in the meanwhile. So it's like, hello? So use your brain. Only because they're psychics does not mean that you're now excused to use your own faculties. I'm here to make it clearer for you, and I'm not very well known to mince my words. So why would you want someone else to make such massive decisions in your life, but you have to live in it? If I tell you now, put your million in there, I don't have to live with the consequences.
Yeah. People need to take responsibility for their lives. And I think that's the main takeaway from this whole thing.
There's that, but it's all fear-based with that as well. And it's also things kind of like, will he come back to me, or will she come back to me? And then I go like, okay, what I normally tell people, and it normally works very, very well for them, is your very best friend would be the exact same shoes. What would you tell her or him? And why would you want him or her to do it? Because they're very, very clear what they want others to do, because they're not so mixed up with their attachments. Yeah. You say, whatever you would tell Sarah, go and do it. And why do you want Sarah to do it? Because she deserves it before whatever, because for the same reasons they apply for you. Now off you go. And that switches the whole thing, that it's kind of like, because it is clear what we would tell somebody we care about, but sometimes, or not sometimes, most of the time we care more about others than ourselves. That's why we find it so difficult.
That's true. Heike, do you believe in luck? What is your take on that? I have my explanation or understanding, but I like to hear what you think about that. Do you believe in luck?
I don't believe in luck. I don't believe in luck
at
all. And
because I do. So, okay, let's hear it.
I know you do. And that's perfectly fine. And I mean, when I grew up, I'd always say, cat likes mice, I don't. And it took me years to truly understand that statement. And that's one of those. It's like, you like mice, I don't. And it's perfectly fine. But I don't believe in luck simply because when we believe in luck, that means there's a huge amount of people that believe that they are unlucky. And when I align myself with unlucky, I get that, because what I align myself with is what I get more. It's like with anything you invest in, if it's money or if it's that belief system. So you have people that believe they can't put a foot wrong and they're always going to be lucky. What they do is like they simply rule out any other possibility. So, and that is how they create their luck. What they really do, they align themselves exclusively with the outcome they want. So is that luck, or is that focused alignment? So, or we can just play with words around it as well. And then you have those that tell you everything always goes wrong.
Yeah.
So why? Because they're expecting it now. They're calling it in because it's like, I've got a new car. I wonder when I'm going to smash it. I got a new partner now. Well, I wonder when I'm going to cock this one up. So it's like, and there it is. You set the base energy. So you make space for all what you don't want before you actually exclusively do. So where's the luck part?
Yeah. So I can give you my take on
now your turn. Where's the luck coming in?
So I think this is the first time that I have a master that I actually don't agree with, which is great. And I'm looking for masters I don't agree with so that we can, have this
And do the
conversation.
practical.
So, uh, the reason I actually believe in luck is because I remember that Shakespeare said that some men are actually born great, some men achieve greatness, and some men have greatness uh, basically thrust upon them.
Okay.
Yeah. So when it says men, I mean man,
I know what you.
human beings.
So
So
which one is the lucky one?
I mean, if you actually look at Justin Bieber, for example, I mean, he became famous at a super young age, right? Or maybe he was 10 or 11 where he became super famous. Now, if you look
Mm.
at an actor named Morgan Freeman, everybody knows
Mm.
who's Morgan Freeman.
Mm.
But if I ask you, can you tell me what Morgan Freeman looked like when he was 30? Nobody knows what
Well,
he
he
looked like when he was 30
was
because
a bit an actor at that stage, yeah.
he's been acting since a young age, but he only got famous at the age of 53. But nobody
Yeah.
knows that. So here you have Justin Bieber, and at the other end of the scale, we have Morgan Freeman. Both have sort of activated their luck at certain stages in their life. So that is why the first reason I believe in luck. The second thing is that I believe that we can create luck. You know,
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you. Give me a definition of luck, though.
so luck is when okay. So then, if you're talking about luck, so we
Mm.
have to assume that it's something good, something that you want to have an experience of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so uh, if we are looking at good luck, so it is an experience that you want to have that is aligned to your heart's desires. And if you look at bad luck, it is an experience that you don't want to have that results in many obstacles coming in your way of achieving that which is aligned to your heart's desires. That is how
So
I
the luck
actually.
is absence of obstacles.
Say again.
The luck is absence of obstacles.
Well, as I'm sharing, it's like luck has to be split into good luck and bad luck. And
Okay.
and for the sake of this argument, and I actually do agree with you when we're saying that we shouldn't label things as good or bad because I
I
actually
hear,
teach
yeah.
philosophy, right? But just for the sake of um,
The argument.
just defining what is luck and so I'm going to say good luck and bad luck. And good luck
Yeah,
is
okay.
that good luck is the energy that you have that supports you in realizing your heart's desires, and bad luck is the obstacles that stops you from realizing your heart's desires. And people are born with a certain amount of luck, or they have a certain amount of luck, and as they are navigating through life, they have the ability to create more luck, or and let me be more specific, to create more good luck, or they also have the potential to create more bad luck. In other words, they can energetically open the doors, or they can energetically close the doors. But I am saying that people are inherently, also karmically, born with a certain amount of luck, because why wasn't Morgan Freeman enjoying financial success and fame from the same age as Justin Bieber? And why didn't Justin Bieber only become famous at the age of 53, like Morgan Freeman?
Honestly, we would have had half the Morgan Freeman if that would have happened at the same rate with Justin Bieber.
Well,
Because it was like, I get the time frames thing, but I struggle a bit with the definition of luck. And maybe that is my definition issue here, because for me, luck is something that I have no say in, no doing, that gets like chucked upon me without me knowing it's coming. It's a random thing. Luck is random because I had no doing in it. I had no knowledge of it. I have no I don't know that it exists. I don't know when it comes, if it comes, what it is, from where it comes. So for me, luck is random.
Mm. You know,
So, and that doesn't fit with me, that I say luck doesn't exist, because the moment I can be active part of it, then it's not luck anymore.
yeah, they actually is a quote that says, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Which it's the same like saying, you know, if you are going, if you are actually going fishing, and if you are casting out a net, you know, the more you do it, the more luckier you would get in terms of the fish that you are going to catch. But if you throw your net out just once, you may not get as lucky. But if you keep on throwing out your net, you are eventually going to get lucky, even if you don't know where the fish are, and you will eventually.
And then there comes the next bright spark and does dynamite fishing, and there you go with your net. So I hear you, but I think maybe we also just on different definitions of luck then, because I feel the moment I have an active part, and the moment I can choose if I go fishing once or 10 times, it's not luck anymore. So, but if you say it's the outcome of a positive action, then I actually agree with you. But if luck is random, then I don't agree with you.
I think where we sort of have to be careful is sometimes people are not ready for a message, because even in the Matrix, if you actually watch the movie The Matrix, and we have Morpheus say to Neo, look, Neo, even though some people even though it is actually the best for people to wake up, people rather stay being ignorant than wake up from the dream that they are actually having. So if we say to people, look, you have luck, then they are just going to think, oh, my life is just bound by the good luck or the bad luck. I don't have to do anything. So we have, I mean, I hear what you're saying about, you know, not sharing with people that they are just lucky or maybe not lucky. But I think it's a concept that needs to be understood. It's not.
I agree on that.
Yeah.
No, I certainly agree. And as I said, lots of terminology which means the same as in like how a person tries to bring it along is just used differently in different contexts. It doesn't make them wrong. I don't believe in the random kind of thing. So because that would then also mean that I would have to believe in coincidences, which I totally don't. So I believe in synchronicity. So, and it means if there's an interconnectedness anyway, then there can't be coincidence. It can't be. It's kind of like saying I have this perfect little Swiss watch, and coincidentally that one part happened to be in the exact right place, coincidentally, that it all works. No, it was carefully placed so that it can all work. No matter how big or small it is, it needed to be that the rest works.
There is actually really something weird with the word coincidence, because it does not make sense. Because if you look at maths, if you go back to high school, I think it was, where we learned that.
I suck at maths, so don't call me out on that.
We've learned that coincidence lines are lines that purposely meet. But our definition of a coincidence is just things that happen by chance. But coincidence, according to mathematics, are two lines that are meant to actually meet. You know, there's.
Which makes way more sense if you also look at the meaning of the word coincidence. It's like an incident for incidents. It means two need to come together. As you said, they're supposed to coincident, not just a incident, a coincident to this incident that needs to meet. So they're like buddies. They're not like, oh, oops, where are you coming from? Yes. But again, it's just how we use words, because lots of words are not used how they are originally meant, and I agree with that. But I think most of all what we need to look at is like, people take this life thing way too seriously. I mean, we're not here as a punishment system. We're supposed to have some fun, and we forget that. We all kind of like, we suffer through this lifetime. I mean, please, people, it's like, we're still human beings. This is still our playground, and not only because every day is necessarily sunshine does not mean it's not our playground. There's going to be stormy weather. It's going to be rain. There's going to be hail. There's going to be too hot, too cold. You can't make it right for humans, but it's still our playground. We forget to play. And that makes everything so much more difficult. So, and also we can be what we want to be. This whole thing when your parents told you can be what you want to be when you're small. Yes, you can. The only difference is you believe it when you're small. You don't believe it anymore when you're bigger. And this is the only thing that changes the outcome. The only thing.
On a postcard, because that really everybody needs to hear that. That's really beautiful what you shared, that you really believed it when you were small, but as you grew up you just stopped believing. We need to be little kids again.
And it's exactly that. And then just if we stop believing it, we now actually take that belief and put it in the most toxic place, which is guilt.
Yeah.
Guilt only works if you believe it. That's the opposite. If I tell you you killed 10 people in cold blood, you're not going to have an emotional response to that because you know it's not true. You don't believe the statement to be true. But if I tell you, oh, maybe you weren't always the best son, it most likely hits you somewhere because we all somehow question if you've always been the right person with the right reaction. Yeah. So the only difference between those two is you believe the second statement. The first statement was 10 times worse, though, which you're okay with being a mass murderer.
Absolutely. That's really wise.
The only difference, no, I'm good with that. The only difference was the belief system.
Yeah, correct. So,
and it works twice.
So by your definition of whatever we are talking about now, because I kind of lost what we were talking about, but
energy and people.
But there is the word accident should not exist at all, right? Because there's no such thing as accidents,
No. Just like there's no coincidence, there is no accident, there is no, it's the same thing, but like, I can get very passionate about stuff. And when people kind of like, and I can sometimes get very sarcastic, I'm trying to keep it under check here. But one thing is also, it's like, we need to watch our language. And when I say watch your language, I don't mean necessarily swearing, because there can be sentence enhancer when it needs to be, but that's not what I mean, because the more we are thrown out, the more we go into gray area language. So when you speak to a person about anything, the things that they are very confident about it, they make statements. I am a psychic medium, I am good at this, and I can do that, or whatever. It's like statements. And then when you go, okay, but we need to look at you like, let's look at your relationship. I might have to look at this, and maybe, and I should, and I could, and what? Then all of a sudden it's like the gray area. There's no more statements. It's if, should, could, maybe, God willing, one day. It's like all this gray area where we leave the back door open for things to go wrong. And we do that, we use that language in areas that we feel the least confident in. So we need to watch that. So, and we normally do it when it comes to ourselves. And it has somehow, the more it goes to our emotional stuff, the more we use gray area language.
Yeah.
So, and this is really something we need to be very, very, very aware of. Not for others, it's for us. It's not about others. It's got actually nothing to do with others. We need to be full of ourselves, because if we don't know who we are, how are we going to actually know how others are going to know who we are? So we need to get really full of ourselves. And if anybody ever tells you you're full of yourself, it's the biggest compliment. Why would you want to be full of everybody else? They don't even know how they work.
Yeah, absolutely. And people also need to realize that, when it comes to language is not just a way we express ourselves in the world, but language is a way in which we create our world. So we must be so important how we are speaking and what we are speaking, what we are saying to ourselves most especially. So Heike,
especially to
do dead people talk?
And how?
How? And most importantly, why? Why are dead people talking? Now, I know you said you're a psychic and a medium. I know that there's a difference. So what is a medium? And tell us, why do dead people talk?
Okay, firstly, what is the difference between a psychic and a medium? A psychic is, as I earlier said, is somebody with heightened senses who can link into your energy field. Now, a medium is somebody who every medium is a psychic, but not every psychic is a medium. And what I mean with that is because a medium can connect to the frequencies where the souls are, let's put it that way. So this is where you become the postman, and you do advance your heightened senses. So why did I talk? Because we're connected, and we're all in one soul family, and we're all there to help each other out, like you do it in a family. So you have your guides and you have your guardians, and there's granny coming through and saying, it's like, stop questioning yourself. And there's grandfather coming through, whoever it is. We need to know that as human beings, we need to have that reassurance from our tribe, and this is what this is. And if we are in a 3D body or not, we are not less of a tribe. Our true essence of being together is not in this 3D physical form. John Homewood calls it the need suit, and I love that because it's like it's a suit. We're going to wear so many suits in so many different lifetimes, and yes, look after it like you would look after a good suit. But it's not about the suit; it's about the content, and this is where we are connected. So why do they talk? Because they care, and we have soul contracts with each other, and they don't stop because I'm not wearing the suit anymore. They go way and beyond. This whole 3D and time and space does not exist on soul level. That's why we connect. It's kind of like when your aunt moves to Australia, she doesn't stop talking to you. Same thing here. You might not see her, but you're still connected to her.
So why don't dead people give us the lotto numbers?
They don't play lotto. They don't have lotto. They don't play with balls and they don't play the harp either.
Yeah. So I just want to understand, when you are doing a crossing over, you obviously don't hear crystal clear words of what people are saying to you. What happens when you are actually getting those messages? Are you seeing things? Are you getting a feeling?
It's a mixture of things. In my case, my three strongest senses are the seeing, feeling, and hearing. The hearing is, as you said, it's not like somebody has speakers next to you or speaks straight into you. It's like more an inner kind of hearing, but I hear it in their voices. So I can say there's a very, like, I don't know, high-pitched female, young-sounding voice saying that. So it's kind of like an inner listening than an outer. I know it sounds weird, but we've all done it in certain ways. It's like when your own inner voice goes on and kind of like check the oven, that kind of voice. It sounds different than an outer voice, but it's a very clear voice. Yeah. And the feeling is like, for example, when somebody passed from, for example, I've done a crossing over yesterday and a gentleman had passed in a car accident, and I got this like something like an impact on my chest area. So I don't feel it in the full force because otherwise I would fall off my chair, but I kind of like, okay, big pressure impact here, and I get like the neck was, because I just get like the flip of the neck like that, okay, like he broke his neck and that. So this is how I get the physical. My body is in a very, very small way replicating certain major impacts or reasons, or she had difficulties breathing, she had a machine on her face, and then I can hear like what is a very typical one, I can hear the machines that they're attached to in hospitals, for example, those kind of things, or they give me the smell sometimes as well of medical environment and all those kind of things. So with that together, they draw a picture. It's not like very often people think it's like me watching a movie and I just tell you what's in the movie. I get it via those which together makes a movie. So, and then sometimes for me, very random. And sometimes as I say it, I think, I hope this makes sense to people, because it's like, to me, it doesn't. It's like my first one ever when people ask me, Heike, how did you know that you could actually connect to past loved ones? And I said, well, again, I didn't know. And they expect like this huge story, like of heavens opening up and the beam of light coming down and say, Heike, you're the chosen one. And it wasn't that at all. It was the Cocoa Pop Monkey. And I wish I could tell the story, but it was the Cocoa Pop Monkey. So all I've done at that stage was I've Reiki sessions, and I had to do certain hours on Reiki because I've just done a Reiki course. And I've done Reiki on a lady that a friend of mine brought along, which I've never met before. And throughout the entire Reiki session, you don't speak during Reiki, I kept on having the Cocoa Pop Monkey in my head. And by the end of it, I knew the whole song of the Cocoa Pop Monkey thing. I'm like, this is crazy. So I spent the whole hour trying to figure how it fits into my life. We don't have little kids in the house. We don't eat it. I haven't seen it. So I really tried to fit it into my life, and it wouldn't. So I thought, okay, fine. If it's not mine, it's got to be somebody's, because it's been an hour in my space. So when I was done with the session, I asked the lady, like, sounds weird or not, take it, don't take it. Does the Cocoa Pop Monkey mean anything to you? And this poor woman burst out crying. I thought, oh my God, what did I do now? Turned out she had a 3-year-old that had passed half a year before, and she was obsessed with the Cocoa Pop Monkey. And so it was her message. The Cocoa Pop Monkey was her message to say that the little one is around. Yeah. So, and I had no idea. That was like, oh gosh, I better look into this. And this is how I started investing more time in that and practicing the connecting more and all of that. But ultimately, I always say, if I can do it, everybody can do it. I was the furthest from it for over 30 years. It's what you dedicate yourself to, you can do. So, but it's also something that comes with very high responsibility, because it is extremely emotional for people. It's extremely personal, and you can't just tell them anything anyhow. So I sometimes get so mad when people come to me and says, oh, so-and-so psychic or whatever has told me that my child will pass when he is 12. And I'm like, whoa, stop it right there. Yes. And fear so powerful and stop so many other things. And it's not for us to know. So it's an incredible responsibility. But it's great, because normally crossing overs are a mixture of happy tears and connecting, and I miss you and I'm so glad to hear. It's like a little bit of everything. It's like a, yeah, as I said, a little bit of everything.
I actually don't think that people, after they pass on, do communicate with human beings. But I do feel that you are able to tap into their consciousness. So I think that their soul moves on, and this is just the way I feel about it, the way that I understand it. It's like, you know, when you walk into anybody's home, and they may have made some kind of curry in the early parts of the morning, but then you walk into the home in the afternoon or in the evening, late in the evening, and you walk in there and you say, did you make some curry today? And then they say, yes, how did you know? It's because you can smell it, because you have a heightened sense of your smell. It's the same when you walk into a house and then you say, hey, did you paint your walls? And they know this, because even though you may have painted your wall like 5 days ago, they know it because they can smell that paint. And I believe that this is what you are actually doing, that you are tapping in to this person's consciousness. That's the way that I feel that it operates, that even when a person passes over, say for example somebody I love actually passes over, I believe that a part of their consciousness still lingers on to my energy. So when they come to you, you are able to sort of read off them. That is just the way that I like to explain the way it happens.
Oh, sure. It's like, it doesn't matter how we believe it works. It's kind of like saying when fax machines came out the first time, it's like, and up to today, I say, I don't know how they work, but I know they work. You know, so it's like with the SMSs and stuff like it and WhatsApps, I don't know exactly what the electronical details are, but I know it works. So I say, if it goes this way around or that way around or that way, as long as those two come together, it really doesn't matter. That's why I also say when it comes to faith and religion, I don't care which way you come around, as long as it comes together, that's fair and square. And this is the same here. So the terminology as such doesn't really matter. So if you say, I see it as residue energy, that's fair and square. It does the same thing. It gets it together. So if you see it through this way or that way, it's not.
It's the same. You know me for a long time. So I mean, my whole thing has always been, or my journey has always been, can I prove what is spiritual to be science as well? And I always like to close that gap, you know, to speak in a language that people that don't believe in this kind of things can, you know, start to say, hey, maybe there's a chance that this is possible if I use the language of science to explain this, because I want people to be open to what is happening, because there's a lot that we don't understand. And I just want to share.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I always say, you know, when some people come to me for the first time, and especially males are a bit more skeptical, which is fine. I love skeptical people, because I wouldn't expect them to switch off the brains because they come to me. Like, we want the brain in the other stuff. We know the brain works. We want to just like match the rest to it. And luckily, there is a lot has happened already that science has caught up. So if you look at people like Greg Braden and all of them, they have done fabulous work in that area, like the science of miracles and all those kind of things, where I say, I understand that you question, and I love the fact that you question. But look at that, and then let us talk about it, because they have all these things about telepathy and They have the measurements of it. There's the Kieran photography nowadays, where you can actually take pictures of energy fields and all of that, which wasn't possible years ago. There's so much knowledge. It is becoming more and more provable. But that wasn't because you couldn't prove it before. It was simply we didn't have the technology that was far enough that it could do that.
Yeah.
So, but there's so much more happening there. So, and there's also, when they said, what is proof? I said, lots of it can be proven, not everything, but it's the same thing. And I say to people, do you love your wife or your husband? Yes. How do you prove that? How can you give me a scientific proof that that is fact? Yeah. And they can't. But yet you proclaim it and you insist and defend it. You fight for it, you die for it, you do everything for it. But you can't give me one scientific proof that this is fact. I said, so, and maybe we just need to sometimes meet on that line. So lots of it can be proven, but your heart rate going up and you have a left one around does not mean that this is now the scientific proof of love. You might have heart arrhythmia. What do I know? But that does not prove love.
Yeah, absolutely.
But everybody believes in that one way or the other.
I really love that. That's so beautiful. I have 1,001 questions more for you, Heike, but our time has come to an end. This has been so much of fun. And, I think that we can talk for hours and hours and hours, especially with the fact that we don't agree on so many aspects. But look at the two of us having this conversation, not throwing hate at each other, but just saying, hey, this is your truth, this is my truth. Let's talk about these things and let's open our hearts and minds even more. Heike, thank you so much for your love, your time, your energy, your gift, and for sharing with all of us this morning. I thoroughly enjoyed you, and I'm sure everyone watching also enjoyed you as well. Thank you so, so, so much.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure connecting with you. Lots of love to you and all of you.
Thank you. And thank you to all of you for watching or even listening. If you've really enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends. And if you want to see more of Heike like I do, please leave a comment in the comment section below. And I'll see you on the next episode of In Conversation with the Masters.